So, Bows versus Bros? Or is and? What's good? What's good? This is your boy J to the B, aka Josh, one half of Bows and Bros. Today I am here with
Shetara.
And today we are having the topic today, talking about toxic friends. But before we get into that, how you doing today?
I'm doing good. What about yourself?
Doing good. I'm
good.
a little tired, but I'm making it. I'm making it.
It's Sunday night. We got a new week.
Yeah,
so a little fresh.
Hopefully. So usually my Mondays is my day off.
Really?
So so that's when I'm like.
I hit the ground running Mondays.
I feel you. So today we're talking about toxic friends.
Okay.
To me, honestly, I think it's an extremely important topic because we always talk about toxic relationships. We always talking about, kind of toxic relationships when it comes to the kind of what's the word? Romantic kind of relationships. Mm-hmm. But nobody really talks about those friendships. The people that, for me personally, a toxic friend is that person that. I don't know, that maybe possibly steals from you, or they don't, maybe you're more of a friend to them than they are, maybe type of thing. Maybe they don't support you, that type of thing, but they expect that same support in return. So something like that. So what do you think?
I think a toxic friend, when you think about a toxic friendship, you think about somebody that's always depleting from you. Mm-hmm. That person that takes more than they give.
Right.
That have full glass.
Gotcha.
That friend that may not just mean you any good.
Right.
Yeah.
I feel you. Now, before I keep going, why don't you tell the people about your background, about what I'm saying? I guess your expertise on that.
So I currently work in the mental health field.
Okay.
I work with people who are on probation, who need substance abuse treatment, need mental health counseling, may need a job. I've worked with children in a psychiatric hospital.
Okay.
And I'm currently in my last semester of grad school with clinical mental health. So
sheesh.
I see people during the day in the regular community that have anything from substance abuse to schizoaffective disorder to bipolar, you name it.
See, that's different because you got this clinical thing, and as well as you have this, I see it for a personal level. Because some people just read about it in books.
Yeah.
Or
it's real. It's a real thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
You had a crazy story. What's something crazy?
Toxic friends. I have had friends that I felt like. I'm giving more into, like you mentioned earlier, I'm always giving myself 100%, but I'm always receiving that 50%. Mm-hmm. I can't come to you to just have a conversation without it turning around to be about you. Or there's always something you're dealing with instead of you getting ahead of it and you kind of speaking positive and putting yourself in a better position.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. That's deep right there. That's what's up. Yeah. So check this out. Personally, do you think you got bad taste in friends or good taste?
I used to when I was younger.
Okay.
So yeah, I hit that 30 mark.
Okay.
For you guys out there. I'll be 31 this year. But when I was younger, in my early 20s to mid 20s, I just chose friends based off where I was at in my life. Mm-hmm. I feel like, people always talk about relationships and how that person was so bad, the ex or, whoever was so bad. But I just look at it as that time of your life, that was who you were supposed to be with. That we talk about, there's a song out by SZA, Good Days, and she talks about giving the best of yourself to somebody. But I feel like we give people where we are in that moment, and then you will eventually experience the best of the person you're supposed to be at the right time.
Ooh.
So yeah.
Okay, that's what's up. I can see that because I know that for me personally, I think at one point the same thing, I had a bad taste in friends, but then in the foreground of things, they taught me by being friends with them, I started learning more about myself, about learning how to pick friends, about learning what things you can and can't say to certain people.
You really, I think having a bad taste in friends is good for everyone in a way, because it does teach you what to tolerate, what to allow, what to allow in,
right.
what you allow to really affect you and consume you. So having a bad taste in friends is not always bad. It actually teaches you a lot about yourself and who you want around you in your circle.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I feel you. Like, how do you feel about friends that aren't equally invested into each other? Or like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you got something coming out. Let's just say you got a t-shirt line you got coming out. And I got a t-shirt line coming out. But yours come out, you know what I'm saying? You like, hey, you know, share my stuff. You know, tell folks about it. And then, you know, I go out and I share it and this and that. But then I go my t-shirt line. And then you be like, nah, I ain't, what?
Yeah, I think your friends should be always equally invested in you as you are in them. It's just only right that you push them how you would want them to push you.
Right.
I think that's important, because at the end of the day, besides just being a mouthpiece, what are they? Right. If they can't support you, if they can't show up to your events, right, or whatever you're doing, your concerts or your new business venture, or you name it, you know, what are they there for?
I feel you. Mm-hmm. So do you think, is there ever like a silver line? Like, is there ever a time where it's okay to keep a toxic friend? Like, is there like a gray area?
I don't think it's ever a good area, a good time to keep a toxic friend. Just from the mental health perspective, you know, what you allow, you become. You start to feed off of that energy. You know, in the mental health world, support is a big thing in recovery, and you know, healthy well-being, wholeness as a mindset, and then, you know, so we really push, you know, having that network of people around you that's going to help you to, whether it's fighting depression or whether it's fighting a substance use issue, that person that will make you accountable, right, for your actions. So a toxic person is always going to choose the bad end of the stick.
Right.
They're never really going to go towards let's make peace, right, or let's get revenge.
Right.
So you want to have that person that is pushing you towards something more positive.
Right. Yeah. You know, I actually bring that up because I had a friend in high school that we were always good friends. We always laughed and joked and all that. But when it came time for, like, situations would come up, we would get volatile, angry, whatever the case may be. He was the first one to hit. He was the first one to cuss, fuss, and everything. And then it made my life hard because every time we hanging out, we go to the club, whatever the case may be, like, he was getting in some stuff.
Yeah.
I even, you know, and for me, it came like a rubber meets the road situation when, you know, I didn't get arrested, but I got detained for getting into a fight. And we got in a fight in front of the club. And it's like, and I remember, like, sitting in cuffs, sitting on a cop car, looking at him like, I don't even know why we were fighting.
Yeah, that's true. Oftentimes, toxic people will put you in a position you don't want to be. Whether it's that pull between just conversational, like, I ain't really want to go there with them. I ain't want to open this with them. Now it's a constant back and forth, or just in a bad place in general. Like for you, it was detainment, but what if it would have went further?
Yeah.
So those consequences, toxic people don't think about consequences. It is what it is. I'm ready. Who want to smoke? Type of situation.
That's facts, though. That's facts.
Like that's their mindset. And if you're in a situation where you need that mindset, it could benefit you, but it's oftentimes never, it ends in a positive way.
So since we bring that up, right, so what about the friends who promote this toxic energy, but maybe it's in good faith or good heart, right? So say, like, you get in trouble, you get in something, that's the friend that's like, oh, I wouldn't take that, I would da. So, like, what about those friends? Is it smart to kind of still keep those type of friends around, even though this?
I always tell people, look at the benefit in what a person is doing. You always have to weigh when you are in a situation, you have to weigh whether it's good for you or bad for you. So you often just have to take that into consideration. Because there are times where you feel like you need that person that's going to push you to say, hey, stand up for yourself. But that's a good push.
Yeah.
There are ways they can push you into something and it's like, I'm about to end up in jail.
Right, facts. like, bro, what you doing? Facts.
I do believe there are times when you need those people that do push you to, like, at a job. You know, you've been only black male on the job or female on the job, and you need to fight for that position just like a white counterpart would. So having that friend that at that moment say, hey, stand up for yourself, speak up, that type of thing, I think is an excellent example.
Okay. But
often that toxic word, it's a little shaky because most of the time you think toxic is always a negative connotation to it.
I feel you. Because I've definitely had a bunch of friends that, like, even in my example, like, even though that particular situation where I got detained, it was, it wasn't my fault. There's been times before where he's kind of fought on my behalf in a sense. Now, granted, I didn't ask him to, but I'm like, hey, bro, you push my man? And then it's all of a sudden, it's like, just because that's my homeboy, you ain't gonna do us like that.
That's loyalty.
That's what I felt. That even when he would get into his own situations, that I felt like I had to be tied into his mess because he had fought for me at one point. I kind of almost felt like indebted almost.
Yeah, you never want to be tied into somebody's mess that it starts to cover up your own mess, or it starts to spill over where you now take on their mess.
Right.
But there are situations where you want to have balance, believe in balance, and having those friends that aren't this exact same as you, but you have that balance that, across the board.
Right.
So, but toxic, I try to stay away from toxic people.
Okay.
I just, at this age, I don't tolerate it.
I feel you. That's what's up.
You feel free to just move on, walk away, just say, hey, at this moment, I don't want to enter into that. I don't want to tolerate that. I don't want that energy on me.
Okay. So. How do you get a toxic person out of your life? Or do you just wean them off? Do you just cut them off? Like, what's your, plan on that?
So, you just made me think, when we talk about toxic people, sometimes we over-label people. It may not be that they're toxic. It may be that they're not where you're at, or they're not meant for that part of your life. Okay. So you try to take on something that wasn't meant. Okay. So they may not necessarily be toxic, or they may be toxic. It's a pattern. It's consistent that they're always like this. They always come this way, or they always show up with no money, or they always, what I'm saying? That's a toxic.
I just gave you some money. Okay.
That's a toxic friend. So it's like you said. You can cut them off. Some people just have to be cut off, and it is what it is. Yeah. It's no hard feelings. And then some people, it's a process, because you care about certain friendships you are heavy, in debt to, and you care about. So it's a process of, letting that person go. But I believe there's always signs. Okay. You'll always get signs leading up. That friend that I had to stop talking to, I got signs leading up until I just had to make that decision for me. Yeah. And, oftentimes those decisions are hard in the moment, but the latter part of it. Yeah.
Do you think it's good to, like, take a break to, kind of somewhat evaluate if that person is toxic sometimes? Mm-hmm.
Evaluate them and yourself. Because we always talk about people, but we have to self-evaluate and see what we need to dig up and what we need to heal and what we need to grow. Okay. From.
Do you think? Oh, my bad. Go ahead. No. Good. Do you think you can attract toxic friends in a sense? Mm-hmm.
I believe maturity-wise, it just depends on where you're at, what your mindset is. You'll attract that. So if you want to, somebody that's always going to turn up and already on go all the time, right. Then you're going to attract, because you're going to seek out, you're going to digest that, then you're going to seek it out until you find that person that is on board with, like, I'm always on go, what you want to do type of thing. So yeah, you definitely seek those people out. It enters into your brain.
Okay.
And it processes that this is the type of person I want to be around. These are the type of people I want to attract.
Right.
You know, fit in that toxic image.
Right.
And then you seek after them, and often you befriend them, thinking that they're just a cool friend.
Right.
So yeah.
Wow. That's what's up. Well, check. Well, do you have something like personal, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, maybe your IG you want to tell everybody. Maybe you know, like, when you got something coming up. Like, what's up? What's on the horizon?
So I do have a photography Facebook page.
Okay.
Called TJ Snap.
Okay.
So I do take pictures for anybody that needs a graduation, engagement, just portrait, family pictures. It doesn't, you know.
Okay.
It doesn't matter. I'm here.
Okay.
So yeah, you can find me on Facebook or Instagram, TJ Snapped. That's TJSNAPPED, Snapped Photography, and you'll find me. Yeah.
Perfect. Well, that's what's up. Well, I appreciate you coming on the show, talking to Bows and Bros. Because look,
yes,
me and Selena,
y'all are funny. Y'all are hilarious.
You see, I'm glad Selena's not here to talk for herself, but you know what I'm saying? I think she's really, honestly, the more toxic friend. And so we haven't talked about it.
I can see that. You know, I've been friends with Selena for years. It's been, how long has it been now, Nina? Like 10 years? 10 years.
Yeah.
10 years. She's back there in the back cutting up, y'all.
Yes.
But yeah. She
gonna be so bad.
And she's crazy. She has come a long way, praise God. Praise God.
Well, we're so glad the Saints is so better now.
Yeah.
Well, look, I appreciate you coming on the show.
Oh, no problem. Thank you for having me.
For sure. This is Bows and Bros.